From rifles that ruled the battlefield to pistols, bazookas, knives, and flamethrowers that cleared bunkers, the United States World War II arsenal was massive. Check out the weapons that made history. First up, rifles and carbines. M1 Garand General Patton called it the greatest battle implement ever devised. This semi-automatic 30-06 rifle gave American infantry a massive firepower advantage, allowing them to fire 8 rounds as fast as they could pull the trigger without working a bolt. M1 Carbine, designed for support troops who needed more than a pistol but less than a full battle rifle. The M1 Carbine was light, handy, and fired a smaller .30 caliber cartridge. It ended up being produced in greater numbers than the Garand itself. M1A1 Paratrooper Carbine, specifically built for the airborne. This version of the M1 Carbine featured a folding wire stock. It allowed paratroopers to jump with the weapon strapped to their chest, ready for action the moment they hit the ground. M1990-3A3 Springfield, a holdover from World War I. This bolt-action rifle was still widely used in the early stages of the war. While slower than the Garand, it was accurate and reliable, later serving primarily as a grenade-launching platform. M1903A4 Springfield Sniper. By modifying the standard Springfield bolt action with a scope and removing the iron sights, the U.S. created its primary sniper system. It brought precision fire to the chaotic battlefields of Europe and the Pacific. M1917 Enfield, often the forgotten hero of American rifles, this sturdy bolt action was actually carried by more soldiers in World War I than the Springfield. In World War II, it was dusted off for training and rear echelon guards and heavily supplied to allies. M1941 Johnson rifle, the quirky rival to the Garand. It featured a unique rotary magazine that allowed topping off with stripper clips while the bolt was closed. It saw limited but enthusiastic use by the Marine Corps early in the Pacific Campaign. Next up, submachine guns. Thompson M1A1, the simplified wartime workhorse. To speed up production, the fancy cooling fins and top cocking handle were removed. Firing the heavy 45 ACP round, it was devastating in close quarters, but heavy to carry. Thompson M1928A1, the classic Tommy gun, with the top-mounted charging handle and the famous Cuts compensator. It was the expensive, beautifully machined submachine gun the U.S. started the war with before cost-cutting measures took over. M3 grease gun, ugly, cheap, and made of stamped steel. It looked like a mechanic's tool, hence the nickname. It fired slower than the Thompson, making it more controllable and cost a fraction of the price to manufacture. M50 Reising, a stopgap submachine gun used by the Marines. While accurate, it was notoriously unreliable in the sandy and muddy conditions of the Pacific, often requiring troops to manually force the action closed. Next on the list is pistols and revolvers. M1911A1, the legendary sidearm. This semi-automatic pistol fired a heavy .45 caliber slug with immense stopping power. Rugged and reliable, it remained the standard U.S. service pistol for over 70 years. S&W Victory model, a standard .38 special revolver produced in massive numbers. While not as powerful as the 1911, it was vital for arming aircrews, Navy personnel, and security guards at home. Colt M1917 revolver, a big-frame revolver brought back from the Great War. It fired the same rimless .45 ammunition as the 1911 by using half-moon clips, offering a heavy-hitting backup option. High standard HDM silenced, a whisper-quiet weapon for the OSS. This .22 caliber pistol featured an integral suppressor. It was famously demonstrated in the Oval Office, where it was fired into a sandbag without President Roosevelt even noticing. FP-45 Liberator, a psychological weapon more than a combat one. This crude, single-shot pistol cost roughly $2 to make. Millions were dropped behind enemy lines to arm resistance fighters, just enough to steal a better weapon from a German guard. Moving on to machine guns, M1918A2 Bar, the Browning automatic rifle, was the cornerstone of the infantry squad's firepower. Firing full-power rifle rounds, it bridged the gap between a rifle and a machine gun, though its 20-round magazine limited its sustained fire. M1919A4 Browning, the standard air-cooled medium machine gun. Mounted on a tripod, it provided reliable base of fire support. It was lighter than the water-cooled guns, but still required a team to operate effectively. M1919A6 Browning, an attempt to turn the tripod-mounted machine gun into a portable squad weapon. Engineers added a buttstock and a bipod. It worked, but it was incredibly front-heavy and awkward to carry in the field. M1917A1 Water-cooled, the heavyweight champion of sustained fire. Thanks to the water jacket cooling the barrel, this machine gun could fire for hours without overheating, making it perfect for defensive positions. M2HB 50 cal, known affectionately as Ma Deuce. This heavy machine gun could shred light vehicles, aircraft, and cover. Its design was so perfect that it remains in active service with the U.S. military today. Continuing with shotguns. Winchester Model 1897. Trench gun with its exposed hammer and ability to slam fire, firing instantly as the pump was cycled. This shotgun was a terrifying close-quarters weapon, earning a fearsome reputation in the trenches. Winchester Model 12. The sleek, hammerless evolution of the trench gun. Rugged and reliable, it saw extensive use in the Pacific Theater, where shotguns were prized for jungle warfare. Ithaca 37, a favorite for its bottom ejection design, which kept dirt out of the action. This made it essentially ambidextrous and highly reliable in the harsh environments of combat. Stevens 520, recognizable by its humpback receiver. This shotgun was a sturdy, reliable design often used for guard duty and base security, though it saw its share of action on the front lines as well. Moving on to anti-tank and light support. M1A1 Bazooka, revolutionary for its time, this portable rocket launcher gave infantry a fighting chance against tanks. It fired a shaped charge that could burn through armor, though the backblast was dangerous to anyone standing behind it. M18 Recoilless rifle, essentially a handheld cannon. Introduced late in the war, this 57mm weapon vented gas out the back to eliminate recoil, allowing a soldier to shoulder fire an artillery shell at bunkers and tanks. M1 57mm anti-tank gun. While not handheld, this crew-served gun was a license-built version of the British 6-pounder. It provided the infantry with potent anti-armor capability that could be manhandled into position by its crew. M3 37mm anti-tank gun by World War II, this small anti-tank gun was largely obsolete against German armor, earning it the nickname Pop Gun. However, it remained useful in the Pacific for busting Japanese bunkers using canister shot. M7 rifle grenade launcher, a muzzle attachment for the M1 Garand that turned the standard infantryman into a light artillery unit. It used a blank cartridge to launch grenades much further than a soldier could throw them. Now let's look at explosives and demolitions. Mk2 Pineapple Grenade, the iconic fragmentation grenade. Its cast iron body was grooved to aid grip and fragmentation. It was the standard frag used to clear rooms and enemy foxholes. M15 White Phosphorus Grenade, known as Willie Pete. This grenade created a dense smokescreen and dispersed burning phosphorus that was impossible to extinguish. It was used for signaling, screening, and flushing enemies out of cover. M1 Anti-Tank Mine, a passive weapon of denial. These pressure-activated explosives were buried in roads and fields to immobilize enemy tanks and disrupt supply lines. Bangalore Torpedo, made famous on D-Day. These were connectable tubes of explosives pushed under barbed wire obstacles. When detonated, they cleared a path for the infantry to advance. TNT Satchel Charge, a simple canvas bag filled with TNT blocks and a fuse. It was the ultimate bunker buster thrown into pillboxes or fortifications to destroy them from the inside. Next up, knives and bayonets. M3 Combat Knife. As bayonets became less practical, the M3 was issued. A dedicated fighting knife with a dagger-style blade, it was designed purely for close-quarters combat and utility tasks. USMC Mark II, K-Bar, perhaps the most famous knife in military history. Rugged enough to open crates and sharp enough for combat, the K-Bar became the beloved trademark of the U.S. Marines. M1 Garand Bayonet, initially issued as a long 16-inch sword, it was later cut down to 10 inches for practicality. Mounted on the end of a rifle, it remained a psychological and physical weapon for the final assault. M1917 Enfield Bayonet, a long, sword-like bayonet originally for the Enfield rifle. Interestingly, it was widely used in World War II because it fit perfectly onto the Winchester trench shotguns. M1918 Mark I trench knife, a brutal relic of the First World War featuring a brass knuckle handle and a skull crusher pommel. It was issued to paratroopers and rangers for silent elimination and close combat. Finally, we have mortars and flamethrowers. M2 60mm mortar, the pocket artillery for the infantry company. Small and portable, it allowed units to drop explosive shells onto enemies hiding behind ridges or inside trenches. M1 81mm mortar, the big brother to the 60mm. It had significantly more range and explosive power, capable of breaking up enemy attacks before they even reached American lines. M2 Flamethrower, the most feared weapon in the Pacific. Strapped to a soldier's back, it spewed liquid fire into caves and bunkers, forcing entrenched enemies to surrender or face a horrific end.